Today's live Browns report is presented to you by Aura, an all-in-one digital safety company that is offering the Dog Pound a 14-day free trial when you get started at aura.com/chatsports. Make sure you are protected when you are online. We'll tell you more about them throughout the show, but what's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report, another live edition on a wonderful Thursday afternoon. The Browns wrapped up minicamp. The offseason is over. They go on vacation until July 27th. That is when training camp will begin. So we're going to stick with you guys. Don't worry. We're not going to turn the lights off for the next 6 weeks. We don't roll that way here at Chat Sports. But we've got some things to talk about on today's show as we kind of go into the dog days, the real dog days of the offseason. But let me start the show off by asking this question. This is kind of a little bit of a foreshadowing for what is to come later on in the show. Should the Browns trade for a wide receiver? A certain NFL insider, we'll reveal sources later on, believes the Browns may be interested in doing so. We'll unpack that for later on. But drop a Y for yes or an N for no if you think the Browns should be trading for a wide receiver. We'll give some shout-outs here. This is the portion of the show where we like the audience to build up, let everyone click on the notification, get in on the show before we jump into things. So, boom, Michael, we got a super chat off the bat. There we go. That's my guy right there. Appreciate you, Michael. Can we get me a beer, Patrick? Yeah, and then we'll cheers to my friend Michael. But here we go. Zach says yes. Fernando, I saw your question earlier. We will talk about Denzel Ward's injury later on, about 20 minutes, not even that far. Big Dog says yes. Shaylin says no. Tuning in from Hawaii yet again for her Brownies report, so shout out to Shaylin. She's our furthest viewer right now, but we got super chat here from Michael. Once the new guy Patrick gets back with my Coors Latte, I'll give you a beers cheers. Appreciate the super chat. If you super chat, you get on the show. Michael knows the deal. Now, speaking of Hawaii, shout out your city. Let me know where you are watching from. One of my favorite parts about not only the Dog Pound, but the show is, one, I love maps. Whenever I'm bored on my phone, like, I don't just scroll on TikTok. I just scroll on maps. Here's a cheers to my friend Michael, though. And I love seeing how far and wide the Dog Pound is, right? Coast to coast, north, south, east, west, doesn't matter. It is nationwide. It's international. It's a brand. So let me know where you guys are watching from. Scorpion, he's always tuning in. He's from Brooklyn, Ohio. We got someone from Romania. Was that Sofia, the capital of Romania? I think it is. But shout out to you, Craig. Let's see. Young Skies in Harlingen, Texas. Harlingen, excuse me. I haven't had a sip yet, and I'm already... It's in the Valley. Producer Marshall, he's from Houston, so he knows his Texas geography. Night Fright is in New Bloomington, Ohio. We got, finally, someone from Cleveland. TLH Arts and Projects. How you doing, my dude? Brian's in Colville, Washington. I know, that's like a, I don't know where that is. I try to think I knew where that is. I don't know where that is. Fernando, Bakersfield, California. Brian, like I said, in Washington. Get those cities shouting out down in the comments. Oh, what do we got here? Marshall's throwing a curveball at me. Don't you just love it when you get some behind-the-scenes action? Producer Marshall on the ones and twos. Okay, Zach. Not a super chat, but Zach, who's always in the comment section, watching from Myrtle Beach on vacation now, about to be late to dinner. This guy gets it. Zach gets it. Who was it that was watching the live show at their high school graduation? Oh, it wasn't Zach, but shout out to you. All right, Zach, honestly, though, I was in Myrtle Beach in February. There is a Pro Football Hall of Fame museum there. You should check it out. Very cool. It's not Canton, and I haven't been to Canton, but it's not to that level, but they got tons of great stuff and artifacts there. So if you're ever passing through MB, make sure you stop at the Pro Football Hall of Fame museum, because I'll tell you this, there are a lot of Brown stuff there, not a lot of Bengal stuff. You know, I was gonna throw some shade to the team in Kentucky. But let me ask this next question. Who is a better quarterback? This is going to be on the show later on because it is a funny rumor, but we'll talk about it. Sam Darnold or Jacoby Brissett? My take on this is Sam Darnold is Jacoby Brissett, but just a couple years younger. I think when you do, we'll show their stats later on, you might be surprised how bad it's been for Darnold lately. And I know I've been a little critical of Brissett, and I'm not like against Brissett. I think he's a good backup quarterback. I think he is one of the better backups in the league for sure. But he also is just a backup right now. So let's not lose sight of that and act like he is, the Peyton Manning of backups, okay? I'm not ready to put him in that category. So who's the better quarterback? Let's get some shout-outs here. DJ Gregory Jones going with 14. Nolan says Brissett. Naman Rue says Brissett. Shaylin says Brissett. All right, DJ Gregory, he changed his mind. He's like, I don't want to do that. B-Dog says Brissett. Here we go. Sub-Zero, yes, I've been saying to get a wide receiver to help Cooper. Yeah, I get the logic behind that, so we'll talk about that later on. Scorpion, he's going to go with Brissett, but a few years back I would say 14. You know what? So were the entire New York Jets front office. So you're not alone there because there were a lot of people that were a believer in him. Imagine if the Browns picked him instead of Baker at one, which was talked about a little bit, but then within 48 hours of the draft, it was pretty clear it was going to be Baker. All right, another super chat coming in here. Let me give a quick cheers to my friend Jay Dinsabaf. Is that someone trying to trick me up there? I don't know. What is your prediction for the Deshaun Watson suspension? I'll say 6 or 8 games. So if I really had to pick one, I would go with 8. But I don't think he's not going to get suspended. And that's not me saying where I stand on where he is guilty or not, right? This is me going off of the track record of the NFL. Okay, Zeke was not found guilty of anything. He was suspended. Now, it's a little different this year because you've got third-party arbitration. And it's Sue Robinson, I believe, is the former U.S. District County judge who will take the evidence that the NFL personal conduct policy police, I'm blanking on the name, presents to her, and she'll make a decision. But I would go with 8 games if I had to pick one. So if you guys have watched our last live show and the last couple of videos, you will know that we've been, I got to get my cheers though, doing a stadium name competition. So we're down to our final 4. These were the top 4 vote getters after our bracket. We have the Doghouse, the Dog Pound, Jim Brown Stadium, and Lakefront Stadium. We have 2 similar ones with the Doghouse and the Dog Pound, but they were high vote getters, so I made them their own separate thing. If you need the backstory on this, remember there's a Cleveland City Council member who is pushing a resolution to have First Energy stripped away from the Brown Stadium because of their fraud, lawsuits, a lot of legal stuff. But I'm not in love with the name First Energy anyway, so I'm all for calling it the Doghouse, the Dog Pound. My only hiccup with Jim Brown Stadium, I'm not a big fan of naming things after people who are still alive. It just feels a little, I don't know, Coach K to me. Or Lakefront Stadium, which is just kind of it's different from the other 3, but it is right there on the lake, so it makes sense to me. All right, let's get some shout-outs here. So, Big Dog, he's going with Jim Brown. He said, I don't give a shit what you say, Matthew. Shay says 2. Nolan says 2. Jason going with the Doghouse. TLH going with the Dog Pound. Young Sky, Lakefront. I agree with you. It may not be the fun, popular pick, but think about it this way. Can you really have the Dog Pound in the Dog Pound Stadium? It's a little excessive. Why don't I have a nice balance, right? Lakefront, the Dog Pound in Lakefront Stadium. Kind of sounds a little nicer in my opinion. But here we go. Definitely 2 from Finkley. Immoral, name it the Kennel. The Kennel did lose. It was in there. It just did not muster up enough votes like the Doghouse and the Dog Pound did. Guys, we have a live Q&A coming up, so if you want to ask a question, use hashtag Browns. So here at Chat Sports, producer Marshall hosts our Giants channel, and he has his live shows on Wednesdays, and I produce those for him. So every single time, Giants fans really struggle to understand hashtag team name. They always just space it out or something. Do not be dumb like Giants fans. Use hashtag Browns. That way our software can pull your question and put it on screen. Or if you want to skip the line altogether, like my friends Michael, and that was a really difficult name, but the last person, what was the name of the last one? Let me get right here. Oh, yeah, Jay. Okay, excuse me, Jay. Boom. You get cheers from me, and you get a spot on screen. So use hashtag Browns. Get those questions in. We'll have the mailbag be our second segment today. So we'll go news and rumors update, mailbag, and then minicamp, winners and losers. If you guys are ready to start the show, hit the thumbs up icon. We had an office outing last night. Just went to a bar. The whole, company picked up the tab, had a great time. I woke up hurting this morning. That was a very bad idea. I mean, it was a good idea. It was a very good idea. What was a bad idea was when I came home, I put a frozen pizza in the freezer, in the oven, and then I watched World War II in color till 2 a.m. It was a very rough night. Okay, here we go. Hit the thumbs up icon. I wish we could do a show on World War II. It's my favorite, rewind. And I'm not in a weird way, but I just love history. So, all right, here we go. Like the video. Here we go. Oh, yeah. All hats, no break. Let me slide in here fashionably late. Call you out. That's all right. No worries. Here's what we got for the people today. The latest Browns news and rumors. A lot of stuff from Minicamp and some very wild trade rumors. We're going to unpack all of that. Then, like I said, we'll have a live Q&A in between that and a Minicamp winners and losers edition as the Browns wrapped up Minicamp today at First Energy Stadium or the Dog Pound Stadium. People are voting. We'll see. So we got that coming up on tap. Marshall, are we ready to go with the ones and the twos? Yeah. Yep. All right. Here we go, guys. Let's dive into a live Cleveland Browns report with the latest Browns news and rumors. So the other day, my boss, who is a Michigan fan, you can check him out on YouTube, James Yoder, Michigan Football Report, was talking a lot of smack about the Browns report, Browns fans, Buckeye fans, really the entire state of Ohio, despite being from there. And he thinks that we cannot get 500 likes on a video. So if you hate the blue, you hate Michigan, you hate the team up north, or you just want to support your local YouTuber, hit that thumbs up icon to start today's show. Today's Browns Report is presented to you by Aura, an all-in-one digital safety company that is offering you a 14-day free trial, limited time only, just for the Dog Pound, when you go to aura.com/chatsports. Aura is helping you out online where you need protection the most, as we are online more than ever. I am proud to tell you more about them later on in the show. But we've got a busy show today. We have a lot of ground to cover. We're going to talk about the latest trade rumors, and then we're going to go and wrap up the show with some news nuggets that came out of the final press conference, the pressers from Minicamp and whatnot as that wrapped up. Plus, we have our Stadium Name Challenge. It's coming to a close on today's show, so make sure you watch all the way through to get your votes in. But we're going back to a familiar favorite. It is our Bernie heads. We like to use these guys to have a bit of a scale of believability. 0 Bernie heads, fake news. It's not going to happen. 4 Bernie heads, Believeland. So we work our way up all the way to, yeah, you can put it in stone. First story on the show. Are there new signs of Baker Mayfield potentially coming to Carolina? New hinting, some new rumors at it? I give it 3 Bernie heads. At this point, I would be more surprised than not if Baker is not playing for the Panthers in 2022. Now, the question is, when would he get there, right? That's what I've gotten to this in my point. Not if he's going to Carolina. I'm almost at 4. I'm like 3.65 Bernie heads about him going to the Panthers. It's about when is it going to happen. So ESPN's David Newton, who covers the Panthers, tweeted this out yesterday, saying Panthers wide receiver Robby Anderson said he was just trying to be a good teammate to his quarterback Sam Darnold when he tweeted a negative reaction to the team possibly signing Baker Mayfield. If you don't remember what David is referring to here, it's actually on Instagram. It's all right, David. We won't make fun of the boomers. But he commented to this post from a Panthers fan page saying, should the Panthers trade for Baker? And it's hard to read out, but at the bottom he's like, no, with a bunch of O's. And then he would double down on that. All right, Robby Anderson does not want Baker Mayfield to come to Carolina. He replied to that saying, yeah, I don't. So it was very awkward for a little bit there because it was, ooh, how are you going to walk all this back if Baker does end up going to Carolina? So now I'm wondering, is Robby Anderson preparing for him to be his quarterback, right? Is he trying to put this little fire out because he caught wind of, hey, Baker's going to be your QB. You might want to go back and delete some old tweets kind of deal because it's not going to be pretty. So I think there's a very good chance that Baker will likely end up in Carolina, and now Robby Anderson is trying to walk some of that back, right? Just kind of forget about that. Guys, we are closing in on 10,000 subscribers. Help me out. 9,218 subs. I want to get to 10K by training camp. So we have until July 27th to pick up 700 and change subs. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. That way you stay in the know and you get Browns coverage throughout the entire summer when other people, they're checking out. Next segment on the show. Are the Browns going to trade for Robby Anderson? So now you go kind of 180, right? Before it was Robby Anderson maybe hinting at a Baker trade happening by going, no, I wasn't bashing Baker. I was just defending Darnold. Well, probably not. But I give this just one Bernie head. So the reason why this story popped up is Josina Anderson, who, I don't know what you want to label her as, an NFL insider, I guess. She always has just the weirdest tweets, and she's always just like, I knew about the story. I forgot. I didn't see they texted me that. So anyway, Josina, she suggested the Browns may be interested in trading for Robby Anderson. Now, Anderson, if you don't remember, a couple days ago was hinting at possibly retiring. He was tweeting about that, saying, I might just kind of, step away. And then he deleted those tweets and said, no, I was just kind of caught up in the moment. So here's the issue with trading for Robby Anderson, just kind of one-off. His contract is not very trade-friendly for the Carolina Panthers. It's post-June 1, which means contracts are a little different when you trade someone around here. But the reason why we talk about this is it's a pretty important issue, a pretty important step if you want to make a trade for someone. We'll look at his contract details in just a moment. But first, I want to tell everyone about today's proud sponsor, Aura. Financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online device security, and family plans that protect up to 5 people. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, I'm never going to have my identity stolen. I'm never going to have my credit card hacked. Well, the hacksters, they're pretty dang good these days. And if, let's say, you share your Netflix password with someone, and that gets in a data breach, and that gets out, boom, they've got your password, most likely for everything. So you invest in a lock on your front door. You should invest in Aura, who's offering you, by the way, a 14-day free trial just to dip your toe in, see if you like it, when you go to aura.com/chatsports. Going back to Robby Anderson, if he is traded, the Panthers have a $9.7 million dead cap hit for this year, a $9.7 million dead cap hit for next year, and a $1.2 million cap savings for this year. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense as to why they would trade away Robby Anderson, who, since coming over from the Jets, you look at the stats from his first season, he was really good. He was a guy that, if you had him on your fantasy team, you appreciated him more than maybe other people in the league did. Now, last year, with Sam Darnold at the helm for most of the season, it wasn't pretty, right? Everything basically gets cut in half, and he didn't miss any games. Oh, missed one game? No, I don't think he missed one game. He goes from over 1,000 yards to 500. Sure, he picked up some more touchdowns, but yeah, played 2 full seasons there, 17 games. So I think Barry is pretty content on the current wide receiver room. I don't really see him going out to make a trade for a wide receiver after passing up on Jarvis and Will Fuller. Does he really want to give up draft capital to get Robby Anderson? To me, that just doesn't really make sense. Plus, David Bell has been the most impressive player, I think we can say, through OTAs and minicamp, especially as a rookie, for how well he is playing. To me, that just does not signal that a trade is coming, that Andrew Barry goes, you know what, I thought this wide receiver room would step up a little more. Some of these young guys would take the next step. We're not seeing that. Maybe we should go get a player. I'm not really getting that vibe from the way the receivers are looking so far. We're looking at OTAs and minicamp. But I'll open it up to you. This is what Chat Sports is all about. Chatting, two-way conversation. Should the Browns trade for a wide receiver? Y for yes or N for no? I don't see it happening. Is it fun? Yes, trades are always fun. We are Americans. We love trades. Who doesn't love trades? But I do not see it in the cards. I think I'm going to go with N for no. All right, third and final rumor on today's show, and it is a juicy one. Quarterback swap. Baker Mayfield for Sam Darnold. We started the show off by just sending Baker off to Carolina. What if it's a two-way plane ticket, and when he lands, he goes, all right, Darnold, here's your ticket back to Cleveland. Just one Bernie head for me. I don't see this being very likely. Mary Kay wrote about this the other day, and she's got some sources in Berea who say this is very unlikely to happen, so that's definitely pulling a lot of weight here. But the only reason maybe why this could happen is if you look at the contract for both quarterbacks. They're pretty big, right? They're both first-round picks back in 2018. Baker first overall, Darnold third overall. Both on their fifth-year options, both having the same amount of guaranteed money. It's a guaranteed contract. So the only way I could see this happening is if the Browns are so desperate to just get Baker out of the building, for whatever reason that may be, and the Panthers go, well, we don't want to have Baker's contract and Sam Darnold's contract on our books. Can you eat some of Baker's money, and we'll send Darnold over to you? That way we don't have two big contracts on our books. That's really the only way I can try to mentally make sense of trading or swapping QBs here, was both sides get a different, well, the Panthers get a starter, and the Browns maybe go, well, if we know Watson is suspended for X amount of games, maybe we should bring Darnold in because we like to have a better competition with Jacoby Brissett. We've showed this graphic before, but I think it's a good reminder. There's no competition here as to who a better quarterback is. So if there are any Panthers fans out there watching right now, do not sell yourself on Sam Darnold being better than Baker Mayfield. He's just not. In every way possible, he is not a better quarterback than Baker so far. So Carolina, take Baker Mayfield to buy yourself some time. I understand from a fan base perspective, Panthers fans don't want Baker because they're going to win 8 games. They're not going to get a good draft pick, and they won't be able to get Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. But again, Panthers fans don't make the decisions, right? The Carolina front office does. And what do they care? If they suck this year, get the first overall pick, they're going to get fired, and it's going to be the next GM who inherits C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. So they're not thinking about that. They're not thinking of, oh, we should tank so that the next head coach and next GM could have a better quarterback to work with. Take Baker, buy yourself some time, don't get fired this year, and then try to either A, see if Baker is a long-term QB for you. If not, reset after that year, and maybe Matt Corral, after sitting for a year, can take over. I also wonder, could it be Darnold versus Brissett? That's the second half of this conversation, right? We addressed Carolina getting Baker. Would the Browns be interested in having Sam Darnold to maybe bring in some competition if they know that they won't have Deshaun Watson for a certain amount of games? So I compared their stats over the last 17 starts. For Darnold, that creeps back into his time in New York, and for Jacoby Brissett, that goes back to his time in Indy. But over their last 17 starts, they're both not very pretty, right? I think we can say that is like the first thing that pops out to you. For Sam Darnold, 15 touchdowns to 18 interceptions. That is not good. That is not good football. And sure, he maybe has thrown for 6 more yards than Brissett, but yeah, no fancy sauce. I don't like fancy sauce, you know. Jacoby Brissett at least got a better touchdown to interception ratio protecting the football. It's an eyesore. So if you had to pick a quarterback, who is the better QB? Is it Sam Darnold or is it Jacoby Brissett? Let me know which QB you think is the better overall quarterback. I hope if a suspension happens, it is for less than 10 games. Because 10 games with Darnold may not be pretty. And I'm not saying 10 games with Jacoby Brissett would be bad, but I'm just in the camp of trying to be a little more realistic on who Jacoby Brissett is as a quarterback, which is maybe a 500 quarterback. I understand this Browns roster is awesome. And if you plug him in after seeing what Baker did last year, you would think you can just connect the dots, right? It's like a kid's menu at a pancake place where you just, connect the dots with your little crayons. But I don't think it's that simple where you can go, well, the Browns last year were 8-9 with bad Baker. You take healthy Brissett, put it in this Browns roster. It should equal 9-8, 10-7. It's a new team. It's a new year. I just don't believe it works that way. All right. We're moving on to some news here as minicamp wrapped up, and there is a picture of Denzel Ward getting checked out by the trainers. Now, unfortunately, he did exit the final Browns minicamp sesh, took his shoe off, looked at the trainers, ultimately went back inside the locker room. Stefanski, afterwards, talking to the media, did not offer an update on Denzel Ward. I don't have much more information beyond that, but I am just hoping that Denzel Ward is okay because I don't even want to finish the sentence of if he's not. So we're just putting good vibes out there. Hopefully Ward is okay, and this is just a tiny little blimp, maybe a stub toe. We've got some other injury updates, though, as minicamp wrapped up. Nate Ulrich tweeting out cornerback Greedy Williams and wide receiver Jakeem Grant on the field but not practicing today with the Browns. Grant has been idle since last week and Williams earlier this week. Coaches are always pretty vague in June about what injuries are, mostly because they probably really aren't injuries. They just don't want to push it. It's June, so I wouldn't be too concerned about this. Another interesting story that came out of the Browns' final minicamp sesh where the players got to speak to the media was Jadeveon Clowney in front of the mic saying, Jadeveon Clowney said this is the first time that the offense has played a role in his free agency. Said he was going to follow Deshaun Watson wherever he was going to go. He also added, Bake's my guy. I like Bake. Great person. So pretty interesting stuff right there. That Clowney, we were all wondering what was taking so long. We weren't really waiting on Clowney for a good portion of time. We were waiting on to see where Deshaun Watson could end up. Now afterwards, then maybe Clowney took his time because there was like a month period of Watson was in Cleveland and, okay, Marshall, my producer in my ear, is like 2 months, dude. Yeah, I'm just trying to defend Clowney here a little bit. But pretty interesting stuff right there if you ask me. All right, final segment of the show. It's our stadium name challenge. If you guys have been following along lately, you know we've been doing a bracket to give the Browns Stadium a new name, as it may be Dunzo's for First Energy. At least a Cleveland City Council member would like to see that. So vote on your favorite stadium name. Doghouse, type 1. Dog Pound, type 2. Jim Brown Stadium, type 3. Or Lakefront Stadium, type 4. We will announce the winner in a future Browns report next week, so stay tuned for that. Okay, guys, let's give some shout-outs here. See what everyone's talking about in the chat. I take a big swig. So it's looking like Dog Pound is the leader. I like Dog Pound a lot as a stadium name. Don't get me wrong. My only beef with it is you've already got a Dog Pound inside the stadium. So is it going to be the Dog Pound in the Dog Pound, right? Or maybe, I don't know, Dog Pound in Lakefront Stadium? It's kind of cool. I like Jim Brown Stadium a lot. David's voting for Dog Pound. Troy's on my side a little bit. Lakefront's got a nice ring to it. Ryan, good to see you here, my guy. He says Dog Pound as well. Mr. Tim is going with Jim Brown Stadium. Marcus says Lakefront Stadium. Scorpion says the Doghouse. Kid Wilson, the Bowl, is a good name. Maybe, I guess. Maybe at that point we're going too far with the dog, though, if we just call it the Dog Bowl. All hats, no break, Dog Pound in the Doghouse. Yeah, I like that one. That's better. Chubb, you see what I'm saying? We already have a Dog Pound, so there'd be a lot of Dog Pounds right there. David, Riverfront. Not bad. It's a lake, though. So, not really. But I like the idea, at least. Okay, here we go. Dog Pound for the stadium name. Then change current Dog Pound to the Dog Kennel. Okay, we got a lot of dogs in our mind here. What's your dog's name? My dog's name is Cruz. I love my dog. I miss my dog. She's with my parents right now, but I'll see her tomorrow. I saw a video saying Cooper is going to flop. Do you agree? No, I don't agree, Zach. But remember, you got to put that hashtag next to the Browns or else our software can't pull it. So get your questions in, by the way. Make sure you guys have all those questions lined up as we are about to dive into a Cleveland Browns mailbag. Marsh, how are we looking? Yep, here we go. Use hashtag Browns or Super Chat. Skip the line. The line is over 100 people long right now, so if you don't have much patience and you want to donate to the show, you get a cheers from me, you get a shout-out. You know, we give you the champagne treatment, right? Some bottle service treatment. We'll pop some champs for you guys if you Super Chat. Appreciate all the donations, but as always, use hashtag Browns. That way our software can pull your question. Marshall, are we good on questions? Okay, getting the green light from Marsh. Let's dive into a Cleveland Browns mailbag. What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, answering questions during our live Browns Report, which is every single Thursday at 4 Eastern. So if you ever want to be on a future mailbag, pretty simple. Tune in for our live show and ask your questions over there. Our first question comes in from a longtime viewer of the channel, Adam Bonnell, asking, I know you said 8 games referring to Deshaun Watson potential suspension, but how likely do you think a full year suspension is? Because I think it's a very high possibility. It's a very good question, Adam, because I think it's a higher possibility where we stand today than maybe it was a couple weeks ago, just from the optics of it, right? As more allegations are filed against Deshaun Watson, more public pressure will be mounted on the NFL to match those allegations. What will be interesting to see is the NFL going to restart their investigation with more claims coming out against him, or are they just stopping and saying we're not adding more to our load here? We're going to roll with the investigation we've already covered. How likely do I think it is? I don't want to give it a percentage because it's like I've never been suspended by the NFL, so it's hard for me to say. But I would say, I guess, 40% if you really want a number. Next question comes in from Y Big Jordan. Why do y'all want Jacoby over Baker? I rarely see Browns fans asking for him to come back. They just want him gone. Well, I don't think it's that they want Jacoby over Baker. It's more along the lines of Baker and the Browns have parted ways because the Browns went out and got Deshaun Watson. So it's not so much that Browns fans or anyone really thinks Jacoby Brissett is a better quarterback when healthy compared to Baker Mayfield or when Baker's healthy, but it's more of this is the reality of the situation. Deshaun Watson is the quarterback. Baker is not coming back to this team. And if Watson is suspended, Brissett will fill his spot. Even if it would be better for both parties to have Baker play, that's just not going to happen. This next question comes in from Scorpion. First off, love the content, brother Matthew. Better than ESPN bums. I love it, Scorpion. You're off to a good start already. Go Browns and go Dog Pound. Second thing, who's the most overrated Steelers and Ravens player in history and right now? Wow, we got to get in the yearbook here. I would say right now for the Steelers, because I sit next to our Steelers host, Jeremy, there are one too many Steelers fans that think Mason Rudolph is going to go to Canton, Ohio after his career's over. I don't understand why so many Steelers fans think Mason Rudolph is a good quarterback. He is not. We have seen him play a lot. He is not a good quarterback in my opinion. As for the Ravens current, and then we'll do history really quickly, overrated Ravens player right now. Yeah, so Marshall, my producer, says Rashad Bateman. They have a bad receiver core, and we haven't seen Bateman prove it just yet. So maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I'll go with Rashad Bateman. As for in history, God, that's tough. Trying to think of Marshall thinks it's going to be Hines Ward for the Steelers. I don't know if I'd go down that one. What about, how about this? Mike Wallace, okay? He has one good catch in the Super Bowl, sucked after that. And then for the Ravens, I will say you could really go with any wide receiver. They never have good receivers in Baltimore, so just it's like a Mad Lib. Pick your own Ravens receiver. They all sucked. DLH Arts and Projects. What is the most realistic starting quarterback the Browns could trade for if they decide that Brissett isn't up to par, not including other teams' second quarterback? It's a great question because that could happen, right? If Andrew Barrett, the decision comes out in July, whatever it may be, and the Browns go, wow, we don't like Brissett. I'm not getting that vibe from them, but going under this hypothetical, Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the best option. Jimmy G would be a very good option for the Browns. My only hiccup with trading for Garoppolo, how much would it cost? Because I don't think you're going to win a Super Bowl with Jimmy G this year, and you're only going to have him for one season. So do you really want to give up draft capital when you're already a little bit short because you gave up a first to the Texans for a one-year rental when you're probably not going to win it all? If you can get him for cheap, yeah, let's get weird. Or Gardner Minshew. I would toss in that. Well, he's also a backup, though. So Jimmy G would be my answer. We got a question coming in from Chase Sr. Hey, Petey, if you talk about the brownies, do you like munching on brownies? Chase is a comedian in the office. I like brownies. Triple layer brownies. Slutty brownies is what my mom calls them. That's what she used to make in high school. It's got brownie, and then it's got cookie, and then it's got Oreos at the bottom. Those are the best. So, Mom, if you're watching, I'm coming home soon, so maybe we can get some slutty brownies in the oven. This question comes in from Joshua Miller. Do we get a comp pick for the Catherine Rasheed hiring? Go Browns. So it's always a bit confusing, but no. Remember when Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa went to the Vikings The Vikings did not get a comp pick for hiring. What Josh was asking here is about hiring a minority and the NFL's comp pick program for that. You don't get a comp pick for the team that actually hired the person. It's the team that lost that person. So in the Kwesi, case, the Browns have a third for this upcoming draft and the last draft, 2 third-round picks for the Vikings hiring Kwesi. Did the Vikings get a comp pick, Patrick Seaman? No, I didn't think so. So they would not. That's my understanding of this. Question comes in from Steph Curry's mom. Any free agents out there the Browns could sign? Always fun talking about free agency in the offseason because it's just fun. There's one position maybe outside of, I could give the basic answer in Ndamukong Suh because that's just fun. But if I had to go maybe a little bit off the beaten trail, they're a little thin at tight end. So what about Eric Ebron? Hasn't been very good for Pittsburgh. What was it, first-round pick for the Lions out of North Carolina? Did not live up to the billing. Last year, he only played 9 games. He had 12 receptions, but over his last 2 seasons, not good, not great. You're not finding a lot of great players out there in the middle of June because that's just the nature of the beast of free agency, but that could be a name to keep an eye on for. So, do you want the Browns to make another signing? S for sign or P for pass? Let me know, right? Do you like the current mold of this roster, or would you like to see an addition? Let me know down below. This next question comes in from my friend Ryan Chaudhary. I hope I pronounced that correct. Robby Anderson or let the young wide receiver grow? I like the idea of letting the young wide receivers grow. That would be my take on this because it's not that Anderson would be a good pickup for a good price. You got to keep that in mind too. But I also like to see what David Bell can do out of the slot this year. Finally see DPJ. He was a training camp hero last year. Let him look like that this year. So I would say go with the young wide receivers. Browns mailbags, by the way, are award-winning mailbags. We're the number 1 mailbags on YouTube. At least, well, I think we do. And so if you want to be a part of a future mailbag, they are only for subscribers. It's very simple. You just get free unlimited Browns content by hitting one button, that red button, and boom, you are locked in for daily Browns content. So make sure you are subscribed today to be on a future Browns mailbag. This next question comes in from Aussie Boy. I feel like Amari Cooper has been lost in the mix. What are your predictions for Coop in 2022? Love the show. #Browns. Well, I do agree with you, Aussie Boy, that Cooper has kind of got lost in the mix. The Browns went out and traded just a 5th rounder, a swap 6 essentially, and got one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and he's kind of gotten lost in the mix because of the whole Deshaun Watson trade, right? So last season for the Cowboys, if I had to make projections for what he could do this season, I've got high expectations for him. Last year with Dallas, 865 yards and 8 touchdowns. I could see him getting north of 1,000 yards and finding the end zone 10 times. Difficult to say without knowing who his starting quarterback will be. But if we just want to assume it'll be Deshaun Watson, or if it's just even Watson for more than half the season, I could see him. There's no CeeDee Lamb on this team that'll take away a lot of targets from Cooper. So I'll go with 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. But let's show the new guy some love. No longer 19, now he wears number 2. Spam Coop, right? His what all Cowboys fans used to love cheering when he was here. Coop. Spam Coop down below in the comment section to show him some love. He kind of needs it because every single picture I see him, this is just kind of his personality. He's never smiling, so every now and then I'm like, are you happy? Well, let's make him happy. All right, Spam Coop down below. Today's show has an awesome deal for everyone watching. Over at Fanatics, you can get a custom jersey, t-shirt, jersey combination. So if you don't want to buy into an expensive Browns jersey, because let's face it, they're not cheap. I still love jerseys, don't get me wrong, but jerseys are a little bit more of a better financial way to go about getting your favorite player, but also repping your team. So chatsports.com/Browns shirt. Pick whatever player you want. You can even do custom ones if you want. If you are your own favorite player, a little weird, but you can put your own name on the back, or you can get creative, put some kind of my name, and put 69, and we can see how funny people can get. Question coming in from Poison Pill. Call it You Ought to Fear the Stadium. Autogram, I like it. Yeah, You Ought to Fear the Stadium. I like that name. Poison Pill referring to our stadium name challenge we've got going on here at the channel. So I like that one. It's not going to happen. Doug Phantom 9, any shot or what scenario does Baker play for the Browns? No shot and no scenario. If I really had to answer your question, I think it literally is Watson is suspended for a year. Jacoby Brissett gets hurt in training camp. No one wants Baker. And somehow Baker and Stefanski meet and go, it is in both parties' best interest for you to play a couple games, improve your draft stock so you can get traded to a team you want to go to. But I don't see a way. If it happens, if Baker takes a snap this year, I am doing a polar plunge in Lake Erie. Pat Riley, the NBA legend, Deshaun Kaiser knows the No. Deshaun Kaiser knows the Browns system and is available at quarterback. At age 26, he should be entering his prime. Would be a great stopgap for the Browns. My friend Pat, you're not doing that again. I will not watch Deshaun Kaiser again. No, thank you. Hard pass. I appreciate the question, Pat, but I am not interested in bringing on Pat Riley. So I'm bringing on Deshaun Kaiser. So it is a no-go for me on the Pat Riley. Okay. Here we go. Make sure you follow me on Twitter if you're not already, at Matthew Petey. If I missed your question or if you just want to ask a different question, my DMs are open, so you can always hit me up over there. And that's going to do it for us on today's show. I'll see you guys later on a future Cleveland Browns report. All right, let's get some shout-outs here. Let's see what people are saying. Icy Dog saying Coop. Doug Phantom saying Coop. Kid Wilson, here's my question for you about jerseys. Me and Marshall were debating this today. How do you spell Shersey? Is it Shirsey or is it Shersey? Did I get that right? Something like that? In that neighborhood. So follow me on Twitter if you're not already, because I am less than 300 subs away. Yeah, Marshall's in my ear saying, I don't know. He's inventing his own language over there. It's his own alphabet. I don't know how you speak it. Zach, will you still take that polar plunge? Yes. That is how I will spend one of my very rare PTO days. I will fly up. We are in Dallas, Texas. That's where Chat Sports is located and centered in. I will fly up to Cleveland and take a polar plunge if Baker Mayfield takes a snap for the Cleveland Browns in 2022. Oh, it's a great idea. So Marshall in my ear goes, you got to do that in a Baker jersey. I think that's only fair. I also wonder if, someone who watches the show every once in a while, they made their YouTube name Andrew Berry, and sometimes I wonder, what if it actually is Andrew Berry? Because no one would expect Andrew Berry to just go under his own name. And every now and then he comments the Browns should sign or do this, and I'm like, well, you should do that, Andrew Berry. What if he watches this show and he's like, let's make him do it. Fucking do it. I bet you won't. And he makes Stefanski take one snap in the preseason and then shut it down like John Taffer style. All right, we got one last segment on today's show. We got some minicamp winners and losers. You guys know I like to have fun with this segment because no one's a big winner or loser from non-padded practices in May and June. So we all ready on the ones and twos, Marsh? All right, here we go. Let's dive into the final segment of today's show. Aura is our proud presenting sponsor today, and they are hooking you up with a 14-day free trial at aura.com/chatsports. Make sure your wallet and your identity is protected at all times when you are online, when you go to aura.com/chatsports. We got some minicamp winners and losers. Now that day 3 of Browns minicamp is in the books, we can start handing out some awards. Now, as always, I preface with, it is non-padded practices in May into June for OTAs and minicamp. If you're a loser, you're not really a loser. I'm honestly just finding an excuse to talk about you. And if you're a winner, you're not king of the castle. You're not having a chair, all right? You're still in the elevator before Borat got to his room. Here you go. First minicamp winner, David Bell. I am guilty of talking about this guy way too much. At this point, my firstborn son's name will be David Bell, just combining it, because that's how big of a winner he has been for the Browns so far this offseason. He has been the star of offseason practices. He kind of, like DPJ was last year, this year it's David Bell. Reports say that he has looked like a pro's pro. And that was one of the big pros, no pun intended, about him coming out of Purdue, was that he would be one of the more pro-ready receivers, and he has absolutely looked the part. Jackson for The Athletic wrote an excellent article wrapping up some Browns minicamp notes, and I thought I should share this segment with you. It's no secret that the Browns expect Bell to become an immediate contributor, and the early impression is that he is off to a strong start. He has seemed to catch everything thrown his way in the open practices, though Bell said he dropped a pass in either the first or second OTA practice. The fact that he can hardly remember dropping a ball at all is beyond impressive. He doesn't have flashy speed, but if you're a receiver who's good at the most important part about being a receiver, catching the football, I'm going to love it. I'll say right now, week 1 starter. Is that even a hot take anymore? Right? I think he's going to be in the huddle with the Cleveland Browns before the first offensive snap. Right? I think it's going to be Amari Cooper, DPJ, and David Bell. I think those are going to be your 3 starting wide receivers, your two outside receivers, and Bell working in the slot. Now, let's play a quick game here. Name a random, gotta be random, Browns wide receiver. You can't go Josh Gordon or Braylon Edwards. It has to be random. So let's see how weird and far back in the annals of Browns history we can go with random wide receivers that played for the Browns. My next winner from minicamp is Grant Delpit. I'm going with the safety here. You may have already seen this story. I think we talked about it actually, was it just yesterday's show or a couple days ago? But anywho, Grant Delpit made one of the plays of the game at Browns minicamp on Tuesday. He's also been running with the first-team defense. It's been him and John Johnson, and Ronnie Harrison has been that third safety. Kind of like what Delpit was last year. They switched now. Now it's Ronnie Harrison who's coming out when Joe Woods is dialing up a 3-safety set. So Delpit, who missed his entire rookie season, right, ruptured Achilles, and then last year, he didn't really play. He didn't do anything in training camp. He was coming off that Achilles. So this has kind of been his first real, true offseason. 2020 doesn't really count because that was just a clusterfuck. But last season for the Browns, had a pick, three pass breakups. He looked good to me. I liked what I saw at Delpit, and I loved the way I walked away from last season thinking he's going to be very special. I think Grant Delpit will be a very special player for this Browns defense in 2022. Ronnie Harrison's back on a 1-year contract. I don't see him being a future of this Browns secondary. John Johnson, his contract expires relatively soon. I think Delpit's going to be the face of that safety room for years to come. We'll get some other winners and then losers in just a moment, but today's sponsor, Aura, is an awesome service that has financial fraud protection. If you're wondering, why would I need fraud protection? Well, we all know the scene from The Office, right? Millions of families suffer every year. Identity theft's not a joke, Jim. Aura was right. Aura maybe works for Dwight. Dwight works for Aura. But make sure you have your online and your device secure, plus family plans. So if you've got some young ones in the family and we just hand them our iPad or our iPhone and say play online, well, you don't want them starting to shop online and having your credit card hacked. So start your free trial today. Aura.com/chatsports. It's an awesome sponsor of ours. I'm super pumped to tell you about them. So make sure you get started today. That way you are secure online. My third minicamp winner is Demetric Felton. I had to put wide receiver there. He used to just be a running back, but he's been getting a lot of work out of the wide receiver position. He made a diving touchdown grab during the Browns minicamp practice on Wednesday. Usually in minicamp and OTAs, you'll see running backs work in the receiver position because why not? It's June practice. It's not padded. It's not live, really. It's not really anything intense. But he's worked at the wide receiver position for quite a bit now. In fact, this diving catch was awesome. I can't show the video, unfortunately. It's on my Twitter, at Matthew Petey, if you want to go watch it. But look at him just laying out right there, making a diving touchdown catch in the back of the end zone in Canton, Ohio. I think Demetric Felton has the most to prove at training camp in 6 weeks, starting July 27th, because we all know that there were a couple things that probably didn't go his way this offseason, right? Just one thing after another. The Jakeem Grant signing. Okay, well, Jakeem Grant's a special teams guy. That's what Felton was used a lot for in his rookie season. That's not good for him. You drafted Jerome Ford. Ooh, now we got an extra running back in the room. You brought back Dearness Johnson. Now you're feeling like Felton's kind of getting pushed out a little bit. So here's what I want to put out there. Do you think Demetric Felton will make the roster? Will the UCLA Bruin be on the Browns roster in 2022? If you think he will, like the video. Or if you do not think he will make it, comment cut. Don't dislike the video. That just hurts my feelings. So like the video either way, honestly. Let's boost those numbers up because we got a like challenge going on here at Chat Sports in the month of June. Like I said, I want to believe that Demetric Felton will make this roster. I really do want to believe that because I think it wasn't like he was bad his rookie season. He just kind of got screwed a little bit from a couple moves in free agency. Jakeem Grant, like I said, plus Jerome Ford coming over, not ideal. Because Grant, he's going to be a special teams guy. Sure, he'll have some gadget plays for you, but that's what he was signed to do. And that's what he was a Pro Bowl returner for the Bears last season. And he was traded mid-season there from Miami. Jerome Ford, he ain't getting cut. He ain't getting put on the practice squad. You can only carry 53 players. The Browns last season took 3 running backs to start the season. If they do that again this year, it's got to be Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson. Jerome Ford would sneak in. You really going to add a 5th one now with Felton? It seems tough. All right, next up, we got some Minicamp losers. Again, they're not real losers because you can't lose in a June practice with no pads. I don't see a way that's possible. So they're not really hardcore losers for the Browns during minicamp. But let me put this call out to you guys. If you hate the Ravens, make sure you subscribe. If you hate the Bengals, make sure you subscribe. Or if you hate the Steelers, subscribe. Because if you hate any of these 3 teams, you're going to fit in quite nicely here at the Browns Report by Chat Sports. We're making and we're growing this YouTube dog pound, so make sure you join us today, one of us, by hitting that big red button. First minicamp loser, I'm going to go with Anthony Walker. Again, not really a loser. So Anthony Walker Jr., if you're watching, don't be too upset. Don't tackle me. But the reason why I have him as a loser is because I actually just really want to talk about this player who may be coming for his job a little bit, and that would be Jacob Phillips, right? The 3rd-round pick out of LSU who has had injuries get in the way of his development so far. Well, he's healthy now, right? He tore his pec during training camp last year, only played in 4 games, 1 sack, 17 tackles, but he's getting some reps with the starters. So that's why I have Walker as a loser because he's gonna be that Mike linebacker, right? He's gonna be the middle linebacker, taking some reps away from Walker, who's back on a 1-year deal. Maybe they're kind of grooming Phillips to take over that position. So far in his career, it's been plagued by injuries. We know this. High expectations for him this year, though. He's an awesome athlete. I mean, all these LSU defenders are always tremendous athletes. I don't know what's in the water in Baton Rouge, but they just come out faster and jumping higher. 42 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a sack through 14 games. Hopefully he can take a huge jump forward in 2022. Minicamp loser number 2 is Ronnie Harrison. I'm going with the same thread, sort of Anthony Walker. And if Delpit's a winner, then that means Ronnie Harrison is a loser, right? Because it looks like Grant Delpit is taking that starting free safety spot from Ronnie Harrison. So it's a reverse of what it was last year, which was you had Delpit be the 3rd safety to come on the field. This year it looks like it's going to be Ronnie Harrison, the 3rd safety coming on the field. Last year, compare their stats, pretty similar numbers. Ronnie Harrison played fewer games. Remember when he got suspended when he got ejected? Was it week 1 against the Chiefs when he just decided to go buck wild on the whole operation and just kick a Chiefs player on the sideline? That was fun. But yeah, there are the stats in front of you right there. Delpit, especially down the stretch, really showed why he was picked in round number 2. Here's my question for you, though. Who is the Browns' best defensive back after Denzel Ward? Can't say Denzel Ward. That's too easy. But who's the number 2? Could it be Delpit? Greg Newsome? You want to be unique and say Martin Emerson. Let me know who you think it is below in the comment section. 3rd and final loser. I know. Bear with me. I'm going with the legend, Clay Matthews Jr. You're probably asking, this Matthew, how could Clay Matthews Jr. be a loser from Browns minicamp? Well, because now I get to talk about Myles Garrett. who did not enter the Hall of Fame museum after the team practiced in Canton on Wednesday because he has said for a long time now he does not want to step foot into that museum, into that building, until he is voted in. And he will be voted into the Hall of Fame. There's not much of a debate here. He is almost the Cleveland Browns sack leader in franchise history, and look at the difference in the amount of games played between Clay Matthews, the legend, from the late 70s to the early 90s, 62 sacks in 232 games, compared to Myles Garrett, who is just right off his trail, right? 3.5 sacks away, 4 sacks he has the record in 68 games. So we'll play a quick game here. Looking at the schedule, I think he can get 3.5 sacks within the first 6 weeks of the season. I'm trying to think what quarterback would be the most sweet. Like, if he gets the record on sacking Marcus Mariota for the Falcons, that won't be very fun. I know you don't be greedy here, but I wish it was against Big Ben. That would be awesome. Week 3 against the Steelers. Cannot be. Maybe it'll be Small Hands Pickett or Trubisky. That's going to do it for us here for our minicamp winners and losers. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Matthew Petey. That way you can stay in the know on everything relating to your Cleveland Browns throughout the entire offseason. So hit that big red button, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter today. I'll see you guys later with more Browns news and rumors. Time to get some shout-outs here as we wrap up today's show. Appreciate everyone, by the way, who made us a part of your day. Like Zach, who's literally late for dinner right now in Myrtle Beach. Good spot, good seafood in Myrtle Beach. I like Myrtle Beach. Scorpion, already locked. Garrett will be in. Yeah. I mean, the sex bots. The sex bots are there. Horny police. Seatman, you got to block the sex box. There we go. Whew, close call. Yeah. Let's see some other comments here. We'll get some shout-outs, and we'll wrap up the show. Terry says Greg Newsome, referring to the best player in the secondary after Denzel Ward. I would agree. Justin says Newsome. Naked HD Tinder. How do you not? That's why you get Aura. That's why you get Aura, folks. Because there's some people out there who actually think those things are real. Let me tell you, there are not that many single ladies in your neighborhood. I promise you. My favorite thing was I lived in Wyoming for a little bit, a town of 10,000 people, and it said there were 50,000 single ladies wanting to meet me in my area. It's like, excuse you, there are not 50,000 people within 50 miles of me. Nice try. All right, wrapping up the show here. All hats, no break. California Browns fans are super concentrated like vanilla extract. Well, vanilla extract is very concentrated. Like, you get a little bit of it. So I believe you're in Bakersfield, right? All hats, no break. So I think that is what you're saying. Like, there's tons of Browns fans in California. That's my best guess. Scorpion, great show, Matt. Always appreciate seeing you, my guy, in the comments section. Zachary will answer this question, and then we'll get out of here. Yeah, what do you think the chances are that Deshaun doesn't get suspended this year and they wait until 2023? It's a good question because once July 1st hits, they are pausing all the entire legality side of this and not picking it up until March. Now, that doesn't mean the NFL can't do something before the courts reach any kind of decision, but I would say it's more than zero. I wouldn't be shocked if, going off what Goodell said, which was, right now, there are no criminal charges against him. So without that, that would not trigger him getting on the commissioner's list. And if these allegations continue to come out, maybe they go, all right, we're going to just pause and pick up the investigation after the season is over. We're not suspending him mid-investigation because we have more allegations. Poison Pill, well done. Appreciate you. All right, guys. Any chances Winfrey starts week 1? Terry, last thing. Yes. I think there is a chance Perrion Winfrey starts week 1. I will say that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. I'll see you later with more Browns news and rumors. Follow me on Twitter, and that's going to do it for us. Hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend, and adios.